Dying is easy. Surviving is harder. Darek stood alone. His boots were soaked with the offal and viscera of his comrades, his friends, his brothers and sisters in arms. Their blood pooled along the floor of the cathedral. Their last refuge, now fallen, laid bare at the mercy of the enemy. His lasgun lay discarded. Its power packs had been depleted during the last battle, and damaged by the final heretic as they had struggled hand to hand, weapons used as desperate clubs. He knelt before the symbol of his emperor, his god, removed his helmet, and carefully, so as to not disturb what was wrapped around his chest, he made the sign of the Aquila and prayed. It had happened like a wildfire. A quick resupply stop, a chance to touch his feet on a real planet again so swiftly turned into hell. The explosion of violence that had swept across the planet. A single day had seen all but the capital city fallen to the dark depravities of the cursed heretics. One more day of vicious street-to-street fighting, falling back to redoubt after redoubt as generals attempted stratagems and plots to maximize firing corridors, create kill zones, and prevent the enemy's advance. One final day, and everything had fallen. Comms were awash with static over silence. With all command cut off, he and his squad mates had fallen back to protect this, their one hopeless chance. Their sacred connection to their lord and master, the Golden One, who sits upon the throne of holy terror. By his grace would they serve in life, or fall in death, but not a single one would live to see it defiled. 3 days. 3 days to lose a planet. After 3 decades of service, Darek could not believe it. He had faced down rebels, traitors, a couple of Xenos incursions, and some pirate reavers, but this pure malice was undefiable. Yet defy it they did. Every hour, the enemy had called for them to abandon their posts, to live and serve under their black banners and dark masters, to forsake their Imperium, their Emperor, their God. Wretches. None that Darek had known had caved to the call. If 1 or 2 had contemplated the offer, they had refused to let it show. Now they were gone, blown apart from explosions, crushed beneath falling debris, or hacked apart by the savage weapons these traitor Astartes and their human cultist allies wielded. Now it was Darek, alone, under the watchful gaze of his emperor. Footsteps that echoed with the thunder of a tank entered the cathedral, cacophonous colours that forced a sickening vertigo just to look at decorated its war plate. A tongue almost as long as his arm forced its way through sharpened teeth, tasting the air, the iron tang of blood, the cold-cut scent of fear. Its mismatched eyes took in the scene. The Astra Militarum cut down, the cultists lying in droves on the floor, and Darek, the final survivor standing, head bowed, praying. A semblance of a grin forced itself onto the Astartes' horrifying visage. It would take its time with this last one. He hadn't had too much time to play. His brothers never let him enjoy the fights the way he desired. A slice here, a nick there, the struggled flopping of meat sacks with their tendons sliced, the desperation leaking out of their pores as they fought the inevitable. the breaking of spirit as they begged for an end. But here, now, he would gut this final one. Watch him bleed out and struggle and panic and quake in agony and terror. Ensure that he expected to die, and then refuse it. Make him beg for it. Yes, that would be the way. His toy had no weapon, just his hands bent meekly in prayer to a dead thing on a throne half a galaxy away. Easy pickings. The monstrous Astartes brandished a wicked curved sword, and without a word eased it through Derek's midriff with a sigh of relief. Tension sparked through the prey's body. Muscles spasmed in agony, but refused to give way. There was barely a reaction. Disappointing. He had wanted to play. He wanted to hear squealing, begging, pleading. He wanted to taste the rage and the fury on the air as his toy howled in anguish and fought. This was boring. The once space marine, now monster, retracted his tongue and rehooked his jaw to speak, to ask why. When his new toy looked up at him, eyes not filled with terror as they should have been. They burned with something else as he spoke, something incorruptible, something purer than fire and truer than stone. My emperor waits for me, heretic. What awaits you? His hands, so perfectly positioned in the sign of the Aquila, in a final prayer to his god, came apart from one another. In one hand, a pin. In the other, a string of crack grenades. The monster's eyes widened. Ave Imperator!